All right,
Okay.
so we are this is something I've never done before here on the podcast, and we are having today my cousin Susanna Langan joining us. Susanna, thank you so much for coming on, and welcome to your first ever time on a podcast.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Yeah, and one of because I always like to this. We always I feel like we do have some very good conversations sometimes about things, and like deep societal issues. But so maybe we may get into one of these here, but I don't know, because today we're going to be talking about a really kind of interesting cultural show, which is the show on Netflix. I think Netflix's first take on doing a dating show that I've ever heard, like a I don't know, like a Bachelor type or just reality dating show. It's pretty much, if you are unaware, the premise is you have to go for a certain amount of time without it was so all these supposedly sexed up teens, or not teens, but 20 somethings.
Yeah,
What?
millennials.
Yeah, millennials, the stupid millennials that can't stop having sex. They bring them up into this really nice island resort, and they're all pretty much all over each other. And then 12 hours in, there's this creepy AI robot named Lana that comes in and is like, okay, now you can't have sex, and every time you do have sex, money will be deducted away from a prize pool that will be distributed to you guys at the end. So it's really kind of I was watching it, and it just really, for a lot of reasons, it made me uncomfortable. I'll get into why, but first, since you go first, I want to ask you, what did you think of the show?
Well, I have not finished it, full disclosure, but have been watching it, and I don't know how I feel, because I think that reality TV, the thing that people don't get about reality TV is that clips from these shows are so heavily edited that they can pretty much make you sound however they want. They can create drama, they can ask you things. You're mic'd up constantly, and they take whatever clips, sound bites they want, and they can create whoever they want out of you. So there's the typical dumb blonde, there's this Jesus character, there's all these people that they've kind of created through the sound bites, and you can kind of tell if you're looking for it, which I do look for it. So that's my take on it. But as far as reality TV shows go, this is definitely the most interesting and intriguing premise I've ever seen. So that's my
what would you say distinguishes you? What distinguishes it in your mind from other reality TV shows? Because this has kind of been a thing that's it's trodden ground, I guess you could say. What is this? What stands out to you about this show as opposed to other kind of love-based reality TV shows?
They win together. It's all of them are competing for the same prize money, and it takes two to tango, so to speak. So it takes two of them to kind of deplete from the prize money, but whoever wins it wins it. Whoever doesn't get eliminated, they win. So I think The Bachelorette, there's a winner, or up with the Kardashians, which is kind of not the same category. But this one is not. It's not who wins; it's you all win, and it's the goal is kind of to have them create more meaningful connections, which obviously BS. It's just a bunch of hot people half naked on an island.
Exactly. Yeah, that's the thing. That is really what makes me uncomfortable, because I don't know who made the show, but it seems like it's something that a boomer or someone who's our parents' age would say. It's you got all you sexed up teens / millennials are having way too much sex. And I just something about the message is just deeply, deeply creepy to me. It's I don't think that all these people are as bad as you make them look, and the idea that sex wasn't this rampant when other people when people who are older now were young, the fact that it's shaming people who I feel it's a real kind of like judgy and kind of like it just feels like a moral scolding. You know, do you kind of get what I'm saying there? Because it's like,
I get it. I get where you're coming from. I definitely think that they chose the people that are on the show for their media presence and because they were self-proclaimed sex addicts. So these people are exactly who they say they are, no frills. They were people who were serial daters who knew that they were attractive and used it. And not in a creepy, like, you know, predatory way, but it was definitely serial swipers, serial dating apps, serial hookups.
yeah,
And they also picked people who already had huge social media followings because that's free publicity for the show. Because these people already
that's the other part of it.
Yeah, thousands of people tuned in to their social media profiles, so that's advertisement that the studio doesn't even have to pay for. So definitely specifically curated people. So I do get where you're coming from. It's like we're gonna force them to make meaningful connections by taking away their sex. You know, it's like we're gonna take away their phone so that they'll talk. It's got totally the same kind of vibe to me, but I also think that there is the other side, which is that's who these people are.
It's like they are kind of like that, and it's like I feel like it could get sent like a bad. It's just I feel like it sends a bad message, like people who are like, oh, I have. It's very like, as I said before, it's kind of like a moral school, like about purity. Like if you like, because if you watch this and you're like a young girl or a young boy, and you're like, oh, I have sex once, like that's a really awful thing. But I don't know if I don't really, because I didn't really know that. I think I do remember them mentioning that at some point in the show, at least like one point or another, where they're like, oh, these people are like especially bad. But like I kind of got the sense it's like they were trying to portray the message of like all of these people are like, or if you have like so much sex, like way too much sex, like that's an awful thing.
Right.
Like, obviously it's not good to just be addicted to it, but like there's a pretty big gap of like just having sex like a normal person, or maybe having like sex more than a normal person, than being completely addicted to like sex or anything else for that matter.
And I will challenge that by saying what is normal, right? Who can say what normal is? Normal for one person is totally different than normal for another person. It depends on how you were raised and who you are and what you feel comfortable with. Because, you know, some people hate hooking up. Some people love hooking up. For some people, it's this traumatizing, really scary experience. And for some people, it's validation. So I think that the only place where I feel like the show lacked on that stance was definitely, like, I agree with you. It was the kind of shaming of people who had too much sex, and I think it isn't a bad thing unless you're doing it, you know, for bad reasons or if it's harming you in some way. But I think that if it's a way you cope, or if it's how you feel special, or if it's how you feel pretty, or you can put yourself out there like that and you feel comfortable doing that, I think the only thing that they didn't touch on, which I would have loved to see, and again, reality TV show, they weren't looking for anything too heavy, but I think definitely just to mention that however you are comfortable putting yourself out there is how you should put yourself out there.
Yeah, so, and it's like I know a lot of like obviously people like they have out like a glass of beer, or a bottle of beer, like a glass of wine, or two or three, like a lot of nights. That doesn't make them like addicted to wine or beer. Like that's the kind of thing. There was a fine line between like liking something or being like completely addicted to it, as you say. And I think it's like if you are hurting if you're hurting yourself or others, obviously it's a big problem. But like if you're not, that's the thing. And it's like forming meaningful connections is like, I think it's like you got to do that at some point in your life, or maybe you don't even want it. Maybe you just don't want to get married. But like, I don't know. It feels like it was really more than any other show. And perhaps maybe this is why this ended up on Netflix, not like an ABC like The Bachelor might. It was kind of done with like or not necessarily political, but like a viewpoint in mind.
Yeah, I definitely agree, and I also think, I think that the way that it portrays commitment is fine and great and like, oh, it's important, but I also think that they didn't portray the different types of commitment or like what's actually important, because committing to one person, if you're not gonna commit to them for a good reason, is also not great. Like, committing to one person and just having sex with one person is fine as long as both of you are okay with, like, I don't know, marriage and whatever. Those are important things to different people. So the way that they portrayed commitment as like this goal or whatever, I don't know. I mean, as like a fun reality beachy watch, it was great, but there are undertones where I was like, that could have been handled better.
Yeah, and it's just like, I don't know. Like, I really kind of like, this is not necessarily at all just this show, but
Yeah.
like when you heard like when one of the girls, I think his name was like Chloe, she was like from England. She's like, I'm really ditzy, you know, and it was just like that also, I don't know, it just made me feel like really like kind of like it was almost felt very like exploitative, whatever the word is, like, you know what I'm saying. But like, it's like, I just don't, because again, on one hand, I'm like, that's reality TV, like it's gonna be the way it's gonna be, like, you know what you're getting into when you sign up for that. But and how much, like, I kind of just I'm wondering where you think, like, how much of it is just this show Too Hot to Handle, and how much of this is just like reality TV in general.
So my general issue with reality TV is exactly that. It's very much not reality at all.
Yeah.
And to say that it is, and to show people that this is how it works, or this is reality TV, it's not real. None of it is real. They have the same amount of post-production and pre-production and scripting. Maybe not scripting, but definitely people are given roles. They are given roles to play. You're going to be the dumb blonde. You're going to be
archetypes.
Do that. There are types, and there is type casting, and there is post-production editing, and there's just so much manipulation that happens. So for it to be marketed as real, like, as a production, it has value. Like, as a production that is literally being produced and typecasted and going through all the same modifications that a real show would go through, as it's being marketed as not that, I think that's damaging, because none of that is real. None of it is actually what happened. It's all coming through this lens of drama, and how much drama can we create. Like the Kardashians, on their reality show, they're on their phones all the time because they're getting texts from directors and producers who are telling them what to say or how to react, or can you say
really?
that
I
the
didn't know
camera
that.
catch it? Yeah. Like, can you repeat that? The camera didn't get it. Say that with more drama. They're trying to create as much manipulation, as much drama, as much explosion as they possibly can. So Too Hot to Handle didn't have phones, but there was enough sexy times for them to create that much drama anyway.
And I'm sure they probably just go like cut, like they turn off the camera and be like, oh, well, you mind saying this again? Do you mind like pushing this or rephrasing this in some way?
Absolutely. And they have you can see that they're wearing their camera and their sound things, so that even if they said something 20 minutes later, they can edit it into being, like, they can skip 20 minutes where they have meaningful conversation and just go to, I really like you, let's fuck. They can, like, skip the whole middle ground, all the conversation. Yeah.
And then I kind of feel it's like, seems like a very much of a cliche thing to be like, oh, reality TV is like, it's not really a reality, but like, it's also, on the other hand, I feel like, how many people really know this? Because they have that kind of sense in the back of their minds, but I don't think really do people carry it into that viewing experience, especially younger people. And like, even if you're coming out like this I kind of look at this